In today's video, we're going to talk about the barebow and traditional style archery release and follow through. So even though I'm a really new shooter when it comes to barebow style archery, I still am a seasoned veteran when it comes to shooting recurve style archery, and I'm really trying to work on applying my technique and what I've learned about shooting a bow with a recurve at an extremely high level to barebow style archery. And so in this video, I'm going to go over my theory and thoughts on the barebow style release and follow through. You're watching the Kaminski YouTube channel. For those of you that are new here, my name's Kaminski. I'm a two-time Olympic silver medalist in the sport of archery. I'm working to make this channel a great resource to all types of archery to help you learn more and to remove all the growing pains that I had when I was coming up in this sport. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscription button and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is uploaded. So, like I said, I'm relatively new to shooting barebow style archery. But barebow and traditional are very much so similar as far as techniques and stuff like that. And there are some things out there that I do see that I kind of just look at and scratch my head. Even after talking to people about the theory as to why they're doing certain form things, I still just scratch my head. So I've really tried to understand more behind what is a best or optimal barebow style, traditional style release. And I'm going to share with you my thoughts today on kind of what I do and where I am with my style of shooting. Even though I am a very new barebow shooter, I still think I could shed some light and give an opinion on this matter. This is going to be an interesting video because it is hard for me to actually show you what a dead release is, because I have shot so many arrows with an active release and follow through that it's really, really impossible. And especially, it's impossible when I'm shooting a bow. With a stretch band, I can mimic it, but with a bow, my body just automatically does the follow through that I do all the time. So essentially, what a dead release is, and this is something that I don't like, and I'm going to really explain to you in a few ways why I don't like the dead release. So a dead release is they come to anchor, and then as they release, they want to do this. They want to not move back here. They just want to open their fingers or, let the shot break, but have a dead release here. I see it more with traditional style archery, but there are a few barebow shooters that shoot with this very static dead release. Again, I can't do it with a bow, so please forgive me. I just can't. I've shot hundreds of thousands of arrows with a release that looks like this. So I just can't do it. Anyway, now, what is the difference between this and this? A huge difference, and in my opinion, a big, important difference. So, a dead release is essentially, in my opinion, a collapse. 100% you are collapsing when you let go of the string with a dead release. Now, there will be people out there that will argue this. There will be people out there that say, oh no, it's more accurate. I don't think so. I politely disagree. So and I'm going to explain to you my theory as to why it is a collapse. So if you ask a traditional shooter that has this dead release, I've asked them and specifically requested, could you please explain to me why so many people do this release? And they said, it is because it is more accurate. And I said, could you please explain some more for me? And they said, well, the whole idea is if I am here and I am stable when I let go, I am perfectly still, I am not disturbing the arrow as it is coming out of the bow. And in my head, yeah, that's correct. That's a great theory of, yes, to not disturb the bow or disturb the arrow. But because what you are doing from a physics standpoint, it just doesn't make sense, and it does create a disturbance. And I'm going to explain to you why. So we're going to say that I am pulling a 40-pound bow, or whatever it is. I have 40 pounds of tension that I'm pulling on the bow. I'm pulling back with an equal amount of force that I am pushing forward. So we'll say I'm pulling 20 pounds and pushing 20 pounds, 40-pound bow, okay? And as I am doing that, I am exerting 20 pounds of pressure this way and 20 pounds of pressure this way, equally divided in my body. Now, as I go to release the string, I am going from 20 pounds of pressure this way, and then when I release the string, in order to have a dead release, I have to go from 20 pounds of pressure to 0 the exact moment that I am letting go of the string. It is impossible. You can practice it a lot and get really good at it, but it's never going to happen right when you let go of the string, and nor is it going to happen in the same spot every single time you shoot an arrow. So what is happening is you are starting to relax tension sometimes before your fingers open up and then you release, and sometimes your fingers open up but you haven't immediately relaxed all the tension and you have a bit of a follow through going on. So those tiny little changes are absolutely affecting not only the flight of the arrow but the tune of the arrow and all sorts of other things, and it's just not a good idea in my opinion. Now, what I think is way better of an idea is to maintain your tension and direction, to maintain the pressure coming back, and all you're doing is letting the string cut through your fingers and you continue that tension going. Now, this is called a follow-through. Every sport in the world has a follow-through, right? Archery, our follow-through is after we let go of the string. What are we doing? Now, what is a follow-through to other sports? We're going to apply it to archery after we learn it a bit from other sports. So, follow through when you are playing baseball or football or something that you are throwing an object with your hand. Follow through happens after you release the object that you are throwing. So when you release an object, you release it right about here at the height, at the very top of your swing with your arm, right? So after you release and what your arm does afterwards, that is your follow through. And with baseball, I know because at one point I was pitching and I learned how to do different pitches, and depending on just your follow through with how you followed through after the ball was gone, could change the trajectory of the ball, could change the way the spin was exerted on the ball, and therefore change the direction of the flight path of the ball. And with only focusing on nothing more than just the actual follow-through part, you can change the direction that that ball goes. And the same goes for any type of sport. So the follow-through of kicking a ball is after your foot has made contact with the ball and what it is doing afterwards. Now, again, same type of thing, your follow-through can affect the trajectory and the spin of that ball. Same thing with golf. As you make contact, as the club head makes contact with the ball, then afterwards, that is your follow-through. And depending on how you follow through and what part of your body ends up where, will affect where the ball goes in space. So why do we, with other sports, really make sure that our follow-through is consistent and very important, but not necessarily in traditional and Barebow style archery? So there is no follow-through when you do this, because you're collapsing and relaxing. Doing a dead release with a bow is much like throwing an object and stopping when you let go. Nobody in their right mind throws anything and stops. Everybody throws and follows through. Everyone kicks a ball and follows through. Everybody swings a golf club and follows through. Swings a bat and follows through. Everyone follows through. Why do we not in archery? Doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to explain to you what is happening when you're releasing. What you're doing is you're changing your entire tension and direction that you've built up in the entire shot at the most critical moment of release. And if you're changing how much tension you're pulling around at that moment of release, it's just going to change everything there is about the trajectory and the flight path, the speed, the power, the everything about that arrow, as it does in every other sport, as it does when you let go. That's changing every single time, because when I'm stopping might be here or here, and that little bit of a change makes a huge difference, especially if we're going to be shooting long distances with Barebow style or traditional style archery. You really have to make sure that the amount of kinetic energy that you've built up into that bow is consistent. And if you're collapsing every single time you're releasing the string, how can you expect consistent results on the target? How to continually move, release, and keep following through with the same exact tension and direction that you had at full draw. Release is only part of follow through. Follow through happens and finishes here. Release is in the middle of something called expansion. Expansion is all the way through the time you release to the time you finish, and it stops then. It does not end here. You do not let go of the string and stop here. You let go and follow through. If you don't, you disturb the flight of the arrow. You disturb how much power is going into the arrow. And ultimately, you just don't have as good a groups as if you were to just continually release and follow through.
Thanks for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you want to become a Patreon supporter or check out books, apparel, and some seminar info, head to jkaminski.com, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you again.